is very beautiful. Hello, welcome back to Colorful Voices of Sisterhood. I am Raquel Painter, one of the co-hosts. I have with me Diana King-Barnes and the beautiful Agnes here. Welcome back. We're glad for you joining us. Today's topic of the day is domestic violence. As we know, it's affecting so many people in the United States, really across the world. But the numbers are staggering. Guys, I was doing research last night on it just to see where we're at on it. And it is really affects a lot of people. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 7 men. It is just, it's out of control.
Not it's just
really.
Women. Yeah, not it's just women.
Out of control. But we do got a special guest joining us, the lovely Tracey Miller. She has a great story, but just inspiring. You know, when you hear her story and where she's at now in her life, there's hope for people who are survivors of domestic violence.
That's the word survivor.
Survivors, that's right. They're survivors, but it's something they live with for the rest of your life. And I'm sure Tracey will touch on that.
Absolutely.
But welcome, Tracey. You are so beautiful.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Definitely an advocate for violence throughout the community. I see you out there talking. The first time I heard you talk was at a candlelight vigil.
Yes.
Very powerful story. It touched me, and then I was like, I need to have her as a board of director for United Way. So Tracey is in the community. I mean, not only about domestic violence, but other issues you take a stance on. She's a board of directors for United Way here in our community, but so many other things you're involved in. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Tracey, so our audience will get to know you and your story. So I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Well, first I want to say thank you. I'm honored to be here with all of you beautiful ladies, Diana, Agnes, Raquel. This is wonderful. And it's wonderful in so many reasons because I want to be the beacon of hope and light for people to know that it's possible for them to come out. I didn't think it was possible for me to come out. And so, again, I thank you for the warm introduction. My name is Tracey Miller. I am a survivor. I've been really blessed to be victorious to come out of what I've been through. Amen. And if I can share a little bit of my story, I'll never get tired of telling my story. If it can help one person at a time, one man, one woman, one child, one professional, you know.
And I love that you mentioned professional because it doesn't discriminate.
That's right.
It touches all levels, all economic levels, races, ages. You know, I was even reading that now they're saying 9% of high school students are physically, emotionally, mentally abused by their partner. This is high school. It starts young. So I love this education piece that we're getting, having the opportunity to put out to the audience is that, you know, we can make a difference in this.
Yes, we can. We will. Yes, we can. And I like the fact that you mentioned youth because domestic violence didn't start with me in a relationship. It didn't start there for me. Okay. Ladies. Yeah. Audience. It started in my home as a child. You know, the door is open somewhere and I won't go into all the details, you know, but I do want to get the message out that we have to pay attention to our children. We must pay attention to who we allow in our homes. That's right. Who we trust, who we are connected with. And so mine started with sexual assault in my house. So I was sort of like trafficked in my house. Because the adults in the house didn't believe me. Today, I still live with that.
Oh my gosh. And then, you know, to me, I see that and I read that a lot, how a child, to me, if a child says something like that happened, it happens.
That's right.
You know,
they can't lie. Yes.
Yes. On something like that they wouldn't even know to lie about.
That's right.
So it breaks my heart to know that when a child goes to a trusted adult and that adult does not believe them, what does that do to that child?
That's right.
And you are proof that, how did that affect you as a child to know that they did not believe you?
Yep. It affected me in so many ways. It affected me academically because I was a straight A student. And when I went through that series of events, I didn't want to go to school anymore. I didn't know who to trust. I felt shame. I felt embarrassed. I felt like it was my fault because the people that I went to that I thought would protect me and love me the most, they took the side of the one that was doing, committing the acts on me, in my home. And so after that, it led me to look into love in all the wrong places.
Oh,
okay. Because if the provider, whether it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, or grandparents, whoever are there, and you look to them for advice, support, love, comfort, protection, and they say, no, it's you. What are you wearing? Did you wear something revealing? Are you sashaying around the house? What did you do
Are you
cause
flirting?
this? Yes. Are you flirtatious? All of those things. And so then I looked outward. So if I'm not getting what I need in the house, because we are creatures of relationship, we are born to love.
Yes.
We're born to help one another. All of those things are in all of our DNA, I believe.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, because we're creatures of love, you're going to look for that love. And sometimes love is not really love when it's coming from the wrong person.
That's right.
It could be lust. It could be all of these things that we see in society today. And so thus that brought me to looking into other relationships. And then hurting people hurt people. And so when you're reaching out to someone, and if we have a commonality of being hurt and abused, then we collide, and then we are hurters. We can hurt one another because we understand. We think we understand. So you build up a rapport and associate yourself with unhealthy relationships.
Yeah. And I know I could definitely relate to that in aspect, just because in Native American culture, the abuse is high, especially among Native women. And it's not from necessarily other natives, but people who are of different races, just because of, I'll go back to colonization, the boarding schools, those traumatic events that are still generational trauma that people go through.
That's
but
right.
the domestic violence among especially Native women is 83%.
Wow.
And it is high. It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely an epidemic that we just haven't got a handle on yet.
Right.
So I definitely feel you on that aspect, because at some point how do you fix that? How do you make sure that next generation doesn't go through that?
Right. It's education and it's demonstration of love, real love.
Yeah.
And talking about it. So many people I've helped over the years, thousands, that bear the brunt of shame. I've actually had people tell me, don't tell all of your story. And I say, I have to. I have to wherever I go, because my life has been saved. And I'm not, judging anyone that does. I had to get to the healing process to understand that it's not my fault.
Correct.
And once you know that it is not your fault, that it happened to you, it's not who you are, then the healing process begins. It can begin. And I had to trust counselors. I stayed in the shelter here. I was one of the longest stay in residents here. I created a support group within the House of Support, right? At the time, it was the Onslow Women's Center. And I got involved. There are so many different agencies. United Way took care of me and my family back then, because United Way is the umbrella for all the other agencies out here that was providing services. So I got school clothes. I got assistance with housing. I got transportation vouchers. I got clothes for ourselves. We were blessed to help launch, the thrift store. I was on that committee. And so there's life after abuse. But we want to get you to the point where you realize that you're not what happened to you. There are resources out here. And so even the last thing in the series of events, ladies, that happened to me was that I was ran over by a car and left for dead 3 times in one incident right here in Jacksonville. I didn't.
And was this from a partner?
This was from a partner that I trusted, that I thought loved me. Again, looking for love in all the wrong places, and come to find out,
it's the attraction.
It's the attraction, And the parent that I had a conversation with said that they had gone through that. And so that was what landed me to the beginning of my new life, of starting over. I still have these pictures. I show them wherever I go, any broadcast, anything that I do, because I want people to say, if I can be your poster child or your point of reference to help save your life, I will do that, because there's hope. I was in a dark place. I was in a very dark place. I didn't like myself. I thought, what did I do?
So what is your turning point? This is it. I need to get back on my feet.
My turning point was going into the shelter. Before I got there, we had a sheriff officer that had visited my house many times. And he looked at me as a father. Big Caucasian man, very loving. He said to me, I see you as my daughter. He said, it stops here. I will forever. I have his picture.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Yes, engraved in me. I see him, and he said, you don't deserve this. He said, you're beautiful. You are loved. And there's someone out here to love you. We're not going to allow you to go back into that house. Tonight was the last night that we rescue you, because you're not going back. And so I had a neighbor, Lori Hooper. She would come to me, and she would give me nonverbal cues. Whenever you're ready, I'm here, because there's a process. The other important thing I want to share, ladies, is to be patient with people.
That's right.
Because one day I said I wanted to go, and then I said I was afraid and what would happen. And so he took me to the shelter, and I was there. And then I met the staff and Miss LaWanda. I'll never forget it. Room number 2. Right. And we stayed there. At the time, it was just me and my son. And I got support. I got help. I received love. And LaWanda was the director at the time. And I was on crutches. I couldn't walk, trying to get my members together, myself together. And she says, I want to speak to the strength in you. I see what has been done to you, but I'm here to get you out of that and get you along the way. You're strong, Tracey. You can do a lot of things in life to help a lot of people. And so I'm not going to baby you. She told me that. She said, the reason why I'm not going to baby you, because you're strong.
Yes.
And that's one of the qualities that you have. But I didn't feel that, because I felt like, how could I endure such horrific things, go to the people that I think supposed to love me, and then they not believe me, and they mistreat me, and they discard me. So that record played in my mind over and over again, those series of events. But I had to turn that around. I had to begin to start helping other people right there in the home. So that's where I was cooking, speaking, events like encouragement sessions, empowerment sessions that we had, outings. I had the same car that ran me over. I had that car for a little while, right? Kind of bittersweet. But I took that car, and me and the other women, we went looking for jobs. We went to our doctor's appointments. We went to counseling sessions, all of that. And I found my sense of belonging and help and encouragement to say, I can take this horrible circumstance and I can help people. And people were receptive. And I said, you know what? Here's LaWanda. Here's the sheriff man. Here's the Lori Hoopers in the world. Here's the people at the agency. And they would encourage me. Keep telling your story.
Because sometimes yourself, you don't see it.
Right.
You don't see it that you are strong.
Right.
That you are capable of doing more than you can do.
Right.
But others sees that in you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think you brought up a good point. You had a son. And you definitely, just statistics wise, if there's abuse in the home, that's partner on partner. If there's children involved, it also falls onto the children.
Right. I'm glad you brought that point up because he saw that.
Yes.
He witnessed it. And we both had to get counseling and rehabilitation for that. And he grew up to be a great man.
Oh.
He travels the world driving. He has his own family. And so the children see and they hear and they're like sponges. And I had conversations with him. You've seen this, so you know not what not to do.
That's
and
right.
he also saw that mom took a stance and said, enough is enough. I'm going to take what is offered to me. I'm going to start my life over again. And he watched me go through that process, which is why he's a hard worker today, which is why he remembers. And now for him and others to see going from a lady in the South Bronx with nothing, coming to Jacksonville, North Carolina, thinking that, I'm going to live this life of imagination, not knowing what was on the other side because I had connected myself with someone else because of my childhood trauma. And so with that being said, pulling the pieces together and saying, you know what, when I would go to my doctor's appointments, there would be people in the waiting room and we just talk. And they'd say, I'm abused. Can you help me? They would call me. I would meet them. We had, names and stuff that we would say. If I say butterfly, then I know you can't talk to me right now. You have to care. And you might not have a lot of resources. You may not have a high education, but what you do have is love.
Yes.
We have purpose. We matter. We can help one another. And I always tell people, the thing that happened to you is because of what you have in you to help others. Let that be the announcement that you say, you know what, because this happened, I'm going to do X, Y, Z for the better. I'm responsible. We're responsible for the next generation to come. And so if they saw Tracey and, maybe somebody in your family and Diana and your families, that have gone through this, once you see that, you say, you know what, I don't have to accept this. This person may need help, but I can't help them because I won't put myself in danger. And so let's refer people. Let's connect the dots and then be patient with yourself. I had to realize that relationship with another man at a certain area, time in my life wasn't what I needed because I needed to learn who Tracey was. I had to fight and heal through the childhood trauma to feel like every woman is not my enemy. But I thought that. Why? Because the woman I went to that was supposed to protect me didn't. And so that's been a long journey for me. And then even for a relationship, I couldn't do it. So I love where I am now, learning and growing, helping, serving different agencies in the community, showing my wounds. I call them glory scars because when I look down at my foot and I see that scar, it's evident that I healed, that it happened to me. But it happened for me because it turned out for my good. I wouldn't know that I was a speaker. I didn't know that I could speak. I didn't know that I could cook. I didn't know that I love fashion. It took people in the community to love me, to say, Tracey, you're beautiful. I would look at myself and say, I'm not beautiful. I'm ugly. Why is my skin this way? Why did this happen? Why do I eat? Why am I built the way? And then my relationship with God, most importantly. And I had an encounter in that shelter, y'all. I did. And I was in a mirror. And it was as if my inside was turned like a mirror so that I can see myself. And he said to me, Tracey, you are beautiful. I made your eyes beady for a reason. I made your towering neck for a reason. I made your skin color. I made everyone different. And I said, why did you make everybody different? He said, I want y'all to connect and love one another. Because sometimes people close to you, they get comfortable, right?
Yes.
So we say, well, it's the stranger that maybe helped me the more. That's God's orchestration for us to build a community globally so that we may not look the same, right? But we're built the same. We all have the same color blood. right? We all want to be loved. We all want to have a successful, prosperous life. We all want loving family members. And guess what? Sometimes that doesn't happen the traditional way. It didn't happen that way for me. So I love the space that I am in now, and that I'm privileged to make it out, to go back and get the others. If it's 1, if it's 10, if I save one person and help them come out of abuse and sexual assault, I'm rewarded that way because I made it.
Talk a little bit about your, I know you had to learn how to walk all over again. I want to talk about that. And then your beautiful ashes.
Yes.
This is powerful.
Yes. And so thank you, Diana. Beauty for ashes is because I thought I was an ash. And there's a scripture in my belief, and no slight to anyone else. Whatever you believe in, believe in you, most important, right? And so it says that when you look at something of an ash, that means that it was not in its former state, that it was broken down to some point, right? So when you look at ashes, you don't know what it was before, but God can take that. My circumstance of domestic violence and sexual assault was an ash that became something beautiful. And so I started meeting in the shelter and then doing conferences every year. And at the time I was military, so I would go to the different states we were stationed in and hold conferences and, training sessions and stuff like that to help women and tell them you could take something beautiful and make it, something that's an ash that might not look bright, that's dark. You might look at yourself and say, what am I going to become? To have that hope, to have that love, to have that encouragement to say, you may be dealing with a situation that's not so good right now, but we can make it something beautiful. Receive the beauty in you that's there. Just because someone else didn't value you, just because someone else don't see your beauty, you've got to get to the point where you can see you're beautiful. You're beautiful. So let me help you. Let me show you my scars. Let me show you my before. Let me show you my after. And I want you to know we're on this journey together and life is not over for you. And so we love clothing. We love makeup. We love hair. We love jewelry.
That's Agnes right there.
Look at Agnes at the boot. Look at Deanna. Look at Diana. Look at Raquel. We're all beautiful in our own right. But guess what? All of these things that are outer garments doesn't wear us. We wear it. We make it because our souls are beautiful. Right. Our heart is beautiful. Yes, and so when we're dealing with someone, with a broken heart, when we're dealing with someone with suffering, low self-esteem, like I was, I couldn't believe. I said, I don't like my hands. I don't like this. We can look at ourselves, but you know what? We have hearts. We have love and the purpose that we're created to walk out. It is not going to be perfect. Just like the puzzle. I have a module called Putting the Pieces Together. And all the pieces are different, but they fit somewhere. And when all the pieces come together, it makes a beautiful picture.
Oh, yeah. Right? I love that analogy.
Yes.
So good.
And so that's how that was birthed. And then the poetry in the shelter, they have some of my poems that I wrote in room number 2. Writing is very therapeutic. So if you're out there and you feel like you're not to the point yet where you can tell someone that you're being abused, I want to encourage you to start writing. If you're not in a safe place to write it on paper, email it to a friend or a family member that you can trust. Get your thoughts out. It's very therapeutic. Go to counseling. Receive the help that's necessary and needed. If you're in a place, I've helped people relocate from different states free of charge on government's dime, on agencies' dime, like United Way. So if you feel like you're in an area, whether it's New York, Japan, wherever you are, North Carolina, and you feel like you're not safe, there are agencies that can help you relocate. I helped a woman and her children come from New York. I want to highlight this one story. And so my baby was young at the time. I flew to New York to get her. I brought her back here. I spoke with the social worker at the hospital. The social worker not only connected us with an agency, but they paid in our plane tickets to come back. They reimbursed her for everything she was leaving behind. They helped with her housing deposit. I got furniture donated through the furniture store here. God rest Itchy Popkins' soul. He's helped me so much with so many women. I miss him so much.
Yes.
And so I don't want you to look at your situation and think that, how am I going to do it? The pieces will come together for you. We are all here to help you, whether you're a man, a woman, boy, a child, whether you don't have an education or whether you're highly educated, whether you're Black, white, Indian, African, whatever your descent, we are here to help you. You don't have to be abused. You don't have to take the sexual molestation. You don't have to allow your kids to be subject to that, because there are some individuals that think I need to stay because my bills are getting paid. Well, guess what?
And I'm glad you brought that up, Tracey, because a lot of women, I know just working with the Also Victim Center, a lot of women go back up to 7 times. There. And it's because their bills are getting paid.
That's right.
They've been isolated. They don't have jobs. You know, they're really relying on that individual financially.
That's right.
And then when they're isolated, they don't have friends or families to reach out to. So I'm glad you brought that piece up, because that shouldn't be a reason to stay, because there's so many resources out there to help a person get on their feet when they're in a situation.
Absolutely.
To bounce off that, is there warning signs that people should be aware of?
Absolutely. There are nonverbal cues and warning signs. It's the uncomfortableness. It's the body posture. It's the roaming eyes. It's, the up and down with the emotions. You can look at someone's eyes. Recently, we were out at a meeting at a restaurant, and I purposely, because I knew what she was going through, I would reach out and say, "That's a beautiful family." And I watched her complexion change. That was my way of letting her know I see you. And you do have a beautiful family. And the person there that's going, causing her to go through this, he wouldn't look at us. And he wouldn't. And I just, reached out, and I was giving my number to the lady, and I was yelling my number so she could have my phone number. She knew. And I said, "I'll talk to you later." And I winked at her. So things like being recluse, being withdrawn. Right? Even being angry. If a person is not their normal selves and you know them to be who they are, something is going on. They're overly compensating, making excuses for the partner.
How about those who are embarrassed to share?
Yes. They will even attack you, not meaning to, because it's like the wheel cycle, the power wheel, right? So when the abuser finds out that you're getting enough strength to leave, the violence will increase to inflict more fear so that person does not leave. I never forget when I not reconnected, but saw my abuser, the one that ran me over by a car. I was in a barber shop, and I was taking my son to get his hair cut. And at first, fear gripped me when I saw him in the barbershop. But then the power in me said, "You will not be afraid. You're going to go in here and do what you have to do, and you're protected." And I was able to look at him and say, "I forgive you." And he ran out of the barbershop. And I found out he was more afraid of me than I was of him, because he knew what he had done. Now, I'm not advising anyone to go and take that approach to put them in harm's way, but I want to share with you that they have issues and they need help too. And you might not be the person to help them, but your first responsibility is for yourself, to help yourself for safety and your children. And so, things like you watch for different bruises. You may see a black eye. You may see scratches. In the summertime, they're wearing long clothing, things that I used to do to hide bruises. If clothing is off, something is wrong. It's 150 degrees outside and you got on a snorkel coat and earmuffs. Something is wrong.
Something's wrong.
And if you don't see anything, but you have your intuition
it's
that
always
tells you something is wrong, please don't ignore it. because something is wrong. But the most important thing is to let that person know when you're ready, I'm here for you. And don't attack them, because then you become the abuser. Why don't you just leave? Well, you don't know what that's like until you're in. It's a cycle for a reason. It is a cycle. You know, I got a new car. The car that ran me over was a gift. This man brought me from the abuser. You know, I was getting flowers. I was getting tubs ran with flowers and bubble bath and all of those things. And everybody was like, woo, you found the one. No,
but they don't know the other
half. They didn't know what was going on behind the door. But then when I would be in a supermarket and I'm with my friends, where do you know him from? Where do you know her from? And I'm a personable person. I don't meet a stranger. I'm going to talk to everybody, right? I'll connect. Those were signs. You know, I'm not to have friends. I can't go out and be with my friends. You know, you have to know where I'm at all times. And I know we have this tracking device for people. Like, you want to know where your family members are. You want to know where your children are. But some use those devices for the wrong reasons. It's the power in the control. If a person has to know where your every move is and you don't have an opinion for yourself, you can't make a decision for yourself. They have to tell you what to wear, what to eat, when to move, when to breathe. That's not the relationship for you. That person does not love themselves, and they get encouragement offer controlling someone else.
Yeah, I like the fact that you brought that up on, it probably starts off small where you really don't notice it.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Isolation.
Yep.
They try to get you isolated from family and friends and stuff.
Yes. Isolation, control, down talking, verbal manipulation, or verbal control or abuse, where they're speaking, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that. Comes to mind an elderly lady. She was a member of one of the churches I had attended in the past, and I went to help her. And once in helping her, I realized that she had a boyfriend, but he was really manipulating and using her. And I got the authorities involved, and just so happened a police officer attended the same church. I had a conversation with him. Come to find out, we want to talk about elderly abuse too, because that's a population that gets overlooked sometimes.
Oh, yes.
And so he had all her credit cards. He had put in a car in her name. He had done all these many things, and he was abusing her. And so there's the elderly abuse, you know, there's abuse of other, you know, financial abuse, you know, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and there's even spiritual abuse where, you know, I'm going to say it because it's the truth. You know, people are controlled in organizations, and some, let me put emphasis on the word some, churches abuse people. They don't want them to control. They want to control everything they do. They don't want them to learn that they have a free will, that they have choices. God gave us a free will. And so no one is to be controlled or manipulated. If you make a decision that I don't agree with, you have that right. So who am I, you know, to control your life? I can't do that, you know? And so we have to get the word out. I love the fact that there are different agencies, you know, newer agencies coming up to help domestic violence, sexual assault, talk about it more. You know, when I went through it, it wasn't talked about as much. I was ridiculed for telling my story, and I never stopped, because guess what? Someone is going to watch your broadcast. Someone is going to call that 1-800-799-SAFE number, SAFE. They're going to call it. They're going to call United. We're going to reach out to Diana, Agnes, myself, and other people in other agencies and say, you can call anonymously. You don't even have to give your name yet. If you need someone to talk to say, what do I do? Let's have a plan. Let's set up a PAT. Let's inflict affect and implement, that's the word, code words. That if I'm being abused and I text you purple butterflies, you'll know that I'm going through an episode with this individual. Call 911, because you don't want them to go through your phone and see you, you know, telling them. And then when you do send messages, delete it. You know,
they also use a sign, isn't it? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yes.
And I saw one one thing on social media where a lady pretended like she was calling for a pizza delivery. I thought that was brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, there's just some stuff. I guess if you're in a situation like that, have a plan.
Yes, a plan.
That if you're at that point where you need 911,
exactly,
you'll know how you could do that.
Yes. And the restaurants, you see the sign, help me, I need help. Even with the traffickers and stuff like that, it's still abuse. You do anything that you do against someone else's will is abuse, to simplify it, And so, there is more education because there are even grants to help people to go back to school, that have dealt with these things. And so we're more educated now about this epidemic, because that's what it is. It is really epidemic that need to be stopped because it affects society. It affects us as a whole. We as communities, we as individuals, we make up the world. We make up society. And so if we heal, then our world is healed. Our world is a better place. And we learn to love one another for real.
Tracey, you have a beautiful daughter as well. Sorry. Is there lessons in life that you teach her about what you went through?
Absolutely.
And I know she supports you.
Yes.
Thank
you.
She's pretty much everywhere with you. And I love that. Because we have to. We have girls and boys that's going through a lot that we want to be able to say, you need to be aware of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. I want to be real. Like, I don't know how to be. As a parent, we try to paint a perfect picture for our children. At least that's what I did at first. I did not want them to know. I can help my son because he was there, but I did not want her to know certain things because she was not born yet. For a while, I kept it from her. But as she began to grow up and get older, I sat her down and I had a conversation and I pulled up all the pictures because I keep them to show others. And I told her the story and I said, this is what you look for, even in dating. No. And I build a bond with her so that I can trust. They say that you can't be your children's friend. I believe you need to be their friend on a certain level, because if you don't create a bond with them, they're not going to open up to trust you to tell certain things. I want her to be, and I've created that where she'll come to me and tell me, Mom, this, that, and the other. And what about him or what about her? And we have those hard conversations. And so she knows. And so she's familiar. She has gone further than I ever have at her age now. And so she's studying for medical. And that girl, she doesn't play. She is in those books and, going into medical profession is very challenging. But she's a hard worker. She's in school and she's pursuing her goals and her dreams. And I support her and encourage her in that. And so, yes.
And I love that, Tracey, because right there, you're changing that generational trauma for your children.
Absolutely.
Just because you're real, you're honest, but you're helping her look for those signs.
Absolutely.
Where I think all of us, when you're talking about education, even 20, 30 years ago, domestic violence wasn't a topic of discussion.
That's right.
But now, with the numbers being, 1 in 4 women, that's a lot of women.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. That's right.
Anytime you look at a group of women and you just count, if there's 8, at least 2 of them are being victims of violence.
Right.
But with you sharing that and being real with your child, that is one less thing your daughter would have to worry
Absolutely.
about.
And because she knows and she's aware, it has caused her to make better decisions. And so, she sees me and I says, you look at someone and they're going through it. You can't see, but right now, but you'll begin to tell your story like I have. Write books. Go around speaking, creating programs, supporting other agencies, serving in the community. I can't stress how important it is to do something in the community. Find something that you love to do and do it and help someone. It is so rewarding. It is therapeutic because it helps you to know you have purpose.
Yes.
And when you are solving a problem for someone else, do you not realize that we're helping ourselves too? Because it keeps you focused. It keeps you doing something positive. It creates a sense of community and togetherness. And it also builds relationships with one another. And so, yes.
Yeah. I know I'm a big proponent of volunteering and obviously community service because, I tell people this all the time. That's one thing we all are equal at is the amount of time we wake up with every day. But what sets you apart is what you do with that time that's given to you. It makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And that dash between your name when you leave this world should make a difference.
That's right. Absolutely.
I always say that. That dash should make a difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to share us about Empower Me Enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. And so I built Empower Me Enterprise because I was doing one thing as far as domestic violence, but there's so much more to us, to me as an individual and so much more to give. And so I coach and consult people with different businesses. I've helped others publish their books. I've helped others start businesses. I help others find their purpose in life, whether it's to go to school, whether it's family dynamics, helping people in marital situations and all of those things. So I said, you know what? I am really carrying enterprise in me. It's so much. And it was frustrating at one point because I didn't know how to narrow it down. And so still fine tuning things and everything like that, but going around speaking and conducting training sessions and virtual coaching and things like that to help impact and empower generations and people, one individual at a time. And so, the phone will ring. I might get an emergency phone call in the night. Someone might need prayer. And I do those things. So that's what I'm working on and have recently launched, to proceed forward with that. I have a journal out, The Price of Truth. I started with that journal because the book has been very challenging. Some of the things that I have lived through, I have to relive to get them on paper. So I'm really taking my time with it, but I will finish it so that others can read more of my story and hear and see how ways that they can implement strategies on helping them break the cycle of domestic violence and sexual assault in their lives.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love it when you said you need to be patient to yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. And when you gone through domestic violence, I know there are times that I was very hard on myself. Sometimes you don't feel like you fit the bill. Where do I fit in? Why do you feel like you have to fit in? You don't have to fit in. Just be who you are and things will line up and things will align. We're all on a journey. Sometimes we might have to make a detour. Sometimes we may have to pause. Sometimes we have to fall back and take a break, but don't stop. You look at the turtle. The turtle is one of the slowest moving animals, but if it doesn't stop, it will always reach its destination. Don't stop. Don't give up because there's help for you. There's help.
And I definitely, on that note, when you're talking about help out there, I want everybody to know about 211. So 211 is a national hotline.
Yes.
It's sponsored by United Way. United Ways are responsible for maintaining and updating in the local communities. But anywhere you are in the United States, you could dial 211 and get connected to the resources you need. Whether it's you need help with a rent, if you need assistance with doctor bills, if you need a shelter to go to, if you need a food pantry, 211 is the number you need. And it's easy to remember. It's 3 numbers that you could call to get those health and human services resources for you to help you make that next step. But obviously, if you are in a dire situation, always call 911. Always call 911 and get the help immediately that you need, especially in a situation where you fear for your life or the life of someone else in the household.
Yes. I also wanted to add that parents, if your kids come up to you and share things with you, please don't ignore that because it might be something there's something going on.
That's right.
There. Yeah. So please stay with them.
Yes.
And give that even just 60 seconds and listen to their stories.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I definitely want to touch on that too, Agnes, because I think it's important that a lot of times you see a parent taking the side of another adult against a child. I just want to put this in the back of people's minds is that child has no one else but you.
That's right.
That child has no one else but you to protect them from what they're telling you. Adults can figure out stuff for themselves, but a child, they need you. So please don't disregard what a child says.
Yeah, that's true. And they're not just needing an attention.
That's right. That's right.
We need to be held accountable.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Become accountable.
I'm glad that you mentioned the fact, Agnes, about attention. Really quick. I remember breaking dishes in the house purposely to get attention, to say something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong, and I need help. And so when they do things like that, don't be so apt to punish them. Ask the question, not, why you shouldn't be doing that. That's an abnormal behavior. And you can call it a temper tantrum or what have you, but something is going wrong. And so those are another telltale sign. So that the parents
that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. So as a child, that's how you did to get your attention.
Broke dishes.
Wow.
Or be rebellious, not do certain things because guess what? If you're not listening to me, why should I listen to you?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff today. But thank you guys for joining us. Miss Diana, do you want to close us out?
Well, Tracey, we'll say thank you again to a survivor.
Thank you.
To a powerful woman. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Don't forget to like and share at all time and be attention to what's going around in your surroundings.
That's right.
At all time. We need each other.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll see you guys later.